Hello, collective. This is your timeless reading. You are here because you may have been led by my other channel that you are seeking emotional redemption, and that the readings on my other channel may not be exactly what it is that you're looking for, so I'm resorting you over here. However, it doesn't have to be that way. This could be a random stumbling upon whatever brings you here. You may find that whatever here is for you. To understand emotional redemption is to not be afraid to be challenged, to figure out what the ego is trying to make an individual focus on. It likes to push the limits of resistance. It likes to push the limits of fear. And the one thing it loves to entertain is the trigger word shadows. So shadows is an important element to not only understand it is of light, but to understand that when darkness is of light, that there is no true darkness. And if there is no true darkness, then living existence in the absence of light means to be in the full essence of the light that you are emanating with. So please know that these messages are not only timeless, past, present, future energetical timelines could come forth of vibrancy within a reading. So use your discernment to take all of that which belongs to you and to leave the rest behind. Wow, just gonna say there's a lot of exhaustion, but this is like a temperamental energy where someone's trying to get away with something without being caught. All right, we have the Herald, small regrets and longing. The Scholar, investigation, research. If someone's trying to plot something and get away with something, careful when operating in the darkness, because there is such thing as a black hole that will take you into the other verses, which is the other verses or the multiverses. That is the shadow of the black hole of the ones that you're living in, or the ones that you're scheming in. This is obviously not a message for everyone. It's very specific. But this is someone who has a very long drawn out soul, feeling a bit melancholy, feeling a little bit, feeling a bit like afraid of mass destruction. Like when I say plotting on something, this could be obviously very demonic, all right? But we're not here to address those energies. What we're here to address are the light energies within darkness, because they will hear the call. They will understand what it means to be of light within darkness. They will understand that darkness is the purveyor of light. And without the world of both being very eminent and very clear, both can't be very successful without being somewhat codependent on each other. The light cannot function forever without some darkness shining within it. And the same thing with the darkness can't last forever until a little bit of light shines in. The reason why is because there's creation. There's a lot of things coming from the valley of the void. From the depths of pain comes the most daunting wisdom. With the most conquered obstacles, there's a strong, spined individual, intellectual, philosophical, emotional, intellectual being. It doesn't require much to be able to mature in life, but it does require not only a lot of energy, but a ton of awareness to be comfortable in one's own skin, be comfortable in the decision that the soul chose to perform in the skin, and to negate what destiny is for this individual of soul expression with the tools that may or may not have been made available for them in this lifetime. It is not an easy feat. It is not something that comes with a guidebook or a handbook to follow when you first open your eyes on Earth. And there is a need for this this type of individual here to set a mark, to put something in the way of chaos, because this person is looking for a purpose. This person is looking for vengeance. But the quest here is to teach the vengeance what ego is going to control it. What part of your ego is going to perpetuate the vengeance you carry, and what are the consequences to paying attention and focusing and feeding that vengeance. If it comes at the cost of destruction to the point where it literally kills people, that is an injustice towards understanding what self-ego is and the power of ego. Because for that, you don't have the power to put a timestamp or make a kink or cause any hoorah attention for yourself in galactic ways by causing or trying to fix a situation that didn't ask you to fix it. Your ego being pulled or drawn into darkness is the ego wanting to return home. Ego doesn't know if it's of light or of darkness, but the ego wants to return home to the security of you, which your choices is why your ego shines. And your ego and the choices that it makes, or vice versa, is not codependent on understanding suffrages of consequences or rewards of successes. It doesn't understand the difference between the two. However, because ego is very dramatic and very tricky and a slippery slope, it would be important to understand that when the ego is said to go home and we're in a state of emotional redemptions, thinking that that is meaning returning back to darkness, that all it means it's setting itself into the void allowing itself to be with everything and almost absorbing all that it needs instead of forcing a relationship with the light, forcing a relationship with darkness. It's just returning to you. And in that, there's a solace because you identify with your ego. So it's like your child returning to you and feeling very, okay, here I can function. It's the moment that ego wants to or is around other individuals or gets put into a situation where it has to protect you in either the flight or fight mode is when you, the sole proprietor of this ego, have to make a better intuitive connection with it, which requires this research and investigative powers of yourself. It also requires you paying attention to your small regrets and the longing. And it also means that when doing so, you overcome these slights because you're finally understanding what choice really entails. All the consequences, whether you start making them or you get yourself ready for any of them. There's still too many individuals that their third eye isn't as powerful as it could be. With the fascinating vibration that Earth has to offer, you could be vibrating that same in your body. And one thing that could really help you function with all those vibrations is your third eye. So it would maybe be of personal interest to see whether or not you could do that. You could reach out to me or, someone you trust. The Tower and the Daughter of Wands. Yeah, reality is going to come in. I mean, you're the person who wants to sit down and seek vengeance is going to be quickly tamed, quickly shackled, quickly taken out of harm's way. I mean, you could also be seeing things in the news more so, okay? Because that's the one thing that just loves to just give all the narratives while keeping every other narrative a secret. Anyway, so not that kind of reading. All right, so Ten of Swords and Strength. So yeah, I mean, you're getting slapped in the face of reality here, emotionally, ethereally, and spiritually, about what human suffrage is, because you realize the place where you feel home with people isn't necessarily with Homo sapiens anymore. The class of Homo sapiens, the humans, is a hard class to look at from a lens and be like, oh man, they're really successful. They really know what they're doing. They really got their shit going on. That's not to say that there aren't individuals who are literally influencers. You see them on your screens and look so happy. That's an ongoing narrative that even my generation would tell when technology was a thing and started coming up in my generation. We all knew that that was something that's going to be a problem, right? So are we shocked that it's a problem now? No. Most of us are like hustlers and trying to figure out how to take that what we knew was a problem back then into our initiative, right? And that's like the slang term of like the 90s babies are back. I'm not a 90s baby, argumentative, but but either way, the challenging part of the cycles of humanity is that everyone just focuses on their timeline of humanity. I'm not talking about those history buffs people that focus on other, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that there is a consciousness to this existence of human species. And that consciousness of human species had to elevate. The whole thing had to elevate. Because if it didn't, it was going to be suppressed and be killed from the galaxy, because it wouldn't been able to sustain the elevation that the solar system, let's put it that way, went into, the whole kundalini of the solar system. And human consciousness is still figuring out whether or not, God is real or not. Like, there's an annoyance to and for ether about the idiocracy that humans have, that at a whole there were enough people of light within darkness to share the call to ether that humanity doesn't want to disintegrate, doesn't want to have Armageddon, doesn't want apocalyptic times. It wants to have the freedom of expression. So since it's freedom of expression that you really, really are hungry for, then ether is saying, all right, go out there and fucking express yourself then. But if there's anything about that expression that is off-put, wrong, being censored, or televised in a way that is a mockery to the rest of everything, please understand that there are galactic beings out there who will slowly and surely balance the shit up to the point where no one even knew that they did this magic work, and you're left in La La Land. All of a sudden you're catapulted in La La Land and you have no idea how you got there. Because it would take personal quest with your relationship with yourself as to what made you almost time jump from one location to another. That wasn't your doing. That is a galactic doing. Someone doesn't feel good after traveling. All right. I'm hearing vaccine issue. It's a touchy subject, but I don't care. As a healer, I'm capable of healing everything. And so in order for everything to be healed, everything has to be triggered. And one shouldn't be afraid of triggering it. One should be just afraid that they can't handle fixing it. That's mostly the problem. A lot of people feel maybe triggered by you, you the listener, and you the listener may have loved ones around you that may be triggered by your existence, triggered by your attitude, triggered by just you breathing the wrong way, whatever, all right? That specific thing comes from envy and jealousy. However, if you're someone, the listener, who is annoyed by other people, you have a constant energy drainage of like, I don't even want to speak to you. I don't know the right words to say. I don't have any words to say. I'd rather go in my room. I'd rather leave the room. I'd rather leave the house. Maybe it's time to start thinking, put more space between you and these individuals, because what needs to happen is that maybe you're a higher light vibrational being that gets too drawn out and drawn down by individuals who you just don't see soul to soul with. You just don't see soul to soul with. And because you don't see soul to soul, you don't know what to do, because it's an uncomfortable situation. And this uncomfortable situation is not that loud, but it's just uncomfortable. And that discomfort, you can't really get to really easy to ease it and to be more comfortable. That's why the message to put more space between you and the individuals, if possible, may be the solution needed for you to understand that you shouldn't be around energies that drain you. emotionally overwhelmed. Excuse me. Yeah, emotionally overwhelmed in a way of not really knowing what to do. There's something you want to protect, and wanting to protect it is making you a bit like weary because you don't know if you're strong enough to protect it. It's like if you have children, and let's say you need to leave the relationship you're in to protect your child. That's kind of like that. I don't really know what to do. Seven of Cups energy coming in. I don't know what angle is the right angle to go with. I don't know if that will be emotionally more detrimental for the child. What's more detrimental to the child is dishonesty. That's the most detrimental thing. And truths can be misinterpreted. And that's why honesty is such an incredible truth pill that is a one-size-fits-most type of situation that, depending on the side effects that you have, really allows you to understand the circumstances of whatever thing dishonesty is bringing you at the time, right? Or the clarity of what needs to be honest, or the clarity of why something has been dishonest. There's a lot of failure of thinking that you are not worthy. And the blame is not necessarily on parents, but the blame here is a lot more on television, the shows, the ads, the commercials, the marketing, the propaganda, the various ways that commercialization, if that's even a word, has made itself a prominent thing in your life. You may be someone who grew up around television a lot, or were put in front of the screen as a timeout, or you were giving this device because you were too loud of a baby, so this device will make you be quiet for the next 20-30 minutes. Like, there's a lot of things that were maybe used to substitute the need to actually talk about your emotions or your needs, and failure to have those lessons in life can make somebody feel vengeful because you're sitting with all these emotions and no idea what the proper, quote-unquote, proper way of discussing them, because there is a very fucked up world where if you're in the wrong vicinity, in the wrong place and time, you could get called 911 on, and then they come and EMT picks you up. They even can arrest you, and they can put you in the mental hospital, all because there was maybe an energy within you that you were listening to, but because everyone around you doesn't understand, nor can they listen to the auditory things that are happening in your mind, to not only have patience but understanding as to what you're going through. Like, you're not around individuals that are intuitive or healers that have more of a breathing room of a second to see if something is a threat or if something is just going through a rebirthing process. And the medical industry does not have that figured out just yet in areas where I would feel more comfortable in it being an actual thing, which is a lower lower demographics of the population, right? Where you have more poor people and more people who are under the suffering of these type of consequences. Why are there not healers there to really engage with the situation? And it's because it's very systemic, it's very cliquey, it's a network, it's a corporation in one way or another, and galactically, with too many billions of people on Earth, Ether is saying slow down. Slow down and wondering anything wrong to go wrong, because what will happen. It doesn't mean to fear the things that you don't know is going to happen, because living in fear is, first of all, not going to challenge your ego to protect yourself in a moment's notice when you need your ego to shine and sustain your breath. Your awareness of that is much faster than your ego. Your consciousness is much faster than the wrong choices you think your ego can make. It's much faster. Trusting it is a different answer. It's a different source, a different requirement. King of Swords and Three of Cups. You don't really know what to trust within yourself. You don't know if you should trust your mind, your heart, or your gut. It makes sense. It makes sense. Right now, I want you to try to trust all of them, because they're all working engines between what it is that you got. You can use your heart to make some polishing changes with your gut. The same thing with your gut for your mind, and the same for your mind for both your heart and your gut. There is something that you can do, and that's focused meditation. I don't like using it for meditation because it literally, you could be daydreaming, you could sit down and just daydream, and that's focused meditation. And being more in tune with your environment, just searching out for the volume, for the noises in your area, and taming any sensation that comes in within you and gets triggered, that, oh my god, that was loud, or oh my god, why so noisy, or it's noisy, or why is that sound over there so loud and buzzing. Like, being able to challenge yourself in that auditorial space and sit with yourself, see what your body and yourself wants to communicate with you in that type of space. It's like, it's normal to want to maybe get up and like walk and sit back down again. Like, be with yourself for like 30 minutes without a distraction, and allow yourself to be your own distraction. If you can't use your phone now. Like, if you want to get up, then get up. If you want to sit down, sit down. If you want to sit in pretzel pose, and sit in pretzel pose. If you want to sit in pigeon pose, and sit in pigeon pose. If you want to sit on your knees and sit on your knees, you want to lie down, then lie down. Just do it with every moment of wherever your distractions and your attention wants to go. Do it with wanting to gain more focus towards navigating what it is that you are. Stop being distracted with what it is that you are. Someone has climbed a lot of walls that was not easy to climb. Someone may have raised you who just wasn't ready to be in a position of raising anyone. So you may be lacking on certain elemental traits that if you were given them, you wouldn't be so, I don't know, whatever you think is wrong with you. But there's nothing wrong with you, because the gift that actually happened was not the person raising you, but you to the person raising you. You were the gift. And it was such an overwhelming moment for this parent, this adult, that they wanted to give you everything that they thought was best for you, without really knowing that what they're giving you is also never really asking you what it is you want. And without really knowing what it is you want, they never really satisfied you, and they never really felt loved by you. It is a cataclysmic energy of like parent to child and child to parent, where the bigger role of why are we here together needs to be fulfilled, instead of the role of child, instead of the role of parent. Two existing individuals playing life together. It would be best to look at this type of energy. To be then left maybe bruised by all the betrayal and the ironies and the contradictions to that. But those are then the ones you tend to yourself. For yourself, self-healing, self-awareness, self-conscious, conscientious, focused meditation to get you unbound and revigorated. Look at that, to leave you unbound and invigorated. We have the Queen of Wands flying up, all right? A lot of fruition coming through, a lot of flower, because you've understood and understanding that ego is a perspective, and that perspective needs to be perceived by you in order for it to feel home, for it to feel safe, for it to feel understood, and that it can do its job in resurrecting you in moments that it can be prepared to have an ego death, because the ego death refines our inner personalities. Our ego deaths refine our spirit, because we are continuously allowing the smoke of our inner fire to clear the veil of any kind of bullshit that's running around us, right? And allowing us to sit with our emotions and express and find things that are wrong, and not be intimidated and needing to maybe express the things that are wrong. Seven of Cups here again. The ego challenge, the ego death is something that will inspire you to look at what made you confused before and feel like you have a better understanding what will be more functional for you. It's like you've understood the message on your ego death, and it has matured you, and now you can look at your problems again and reassess in a different light. Here with the moon energy, it's a personal progress, meaning universe and you see what you overcome and what you choose, not anyone else. This isn't about anyone else. This is about you and more of you and what's to come. The Chariot card here too. It's all the work you've put in the background. It's what keeps the show running in the back and not the players in the front. All right, Knight of Cups energy, taking your newfound expression and feeling reignited in showing up. Slowly and surely, you want to refine who you are. Slowly and surely, you want to understand how emotions can bring longevity, and how longevity can bring you abundance, and how controlling both life and death perspective brings you on the pursuit of sovereignty, and that sovereignty leaves you limitless in the eternity that you will then feel as if you're functioning in, and not suppressed in any kind of way. Pain in the heart has a lesson. Failures transform into art. And a walk into nature. All right, ladies and gentlemen, all those in between and beyond, feel free to check out my description box below for access also to my second channel if you haven't done so already, or for any type of healing or service you might be after. I'm wishing you a wonderful morning, noon, or night, wherever you are in the ether of this time and space, and may you keep flowing, growing, and glowing. Take care.